Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving straight into a topic that gets tossed around a lot, surrounded by a mountain of hype and, honestly, a ton of confusion: passive income. If you've ever had that dream of making money while you sleep, but kind of felt locked out because you don't have thousands of dollars sitting around to invest right now, well, you're in the exact right place. We're going to focus entirely on actionable, low-cost entry strategies built specifically for total beginners. Zero massive upfront capital required. Let's get into it.
But hey, before we get into the actual how, we've got to talk about a really important why. Think about this for a second. When will you actually consider yourself financially successful? Is it hitting a specific salary? Buying that fancy car? It's the ultimate question that pretty much everyone trying to build a secure future wrestles with.
While certified financial planner Jerry Lynch gives us a really fantastic, tangible North Star here. He says you hit financial success when your passive income exceeds your expenses. Just let that sink in. Whether that cash is rolling in from dividends, real estate, or royalties, the exact second those passive streams cover your basic living costs, boom, that's true financial freedom. You're no longer chained to a 9-to-5 just to survive.
So how do we get there? Here's our beginner's roadmap for today. 1. The passive income myth. 2. No money creative strategies. 3. Monetizing things you already own. 4. Beginner-friendly investing. And 5. Building your income streams.
All right, Section 1, the passive income myth, separating fact from fiction.
We've all seen those flashy online influencers promising you can get rich quick by literally doing nothing, right? Well, let's crush that myth right now. Financial coach and retired hedge fund manager Todd Tressitter hits the nail on the head. He notes that while passive income has this massive get-rich-quick appeal, in the end, it still involves work. You just give the work up front. And honestly, that is the absolute core truth of this entire explainer. It's not magic. Since you aren't using money to start, you've got to use sweat equity. You build an audience, write a book, maybe fix up a property well before a single dollar flows your way.
So to be super clear, what actually qualifies as passive income? True passive income comes from cash-flowing assets. Think rental properties, book royalties, stock dividends. On the flip side, what is definitely not passive? Picking up a second job. That's just trading your time for a paycheck. And holding non-income producing assets like crypto or non-dividend stocks? Also not passive. Those don't pay you regular interest. You only make a dime if you happen to sell them at a higher price. We're looking for streams that pay you continuously.
Moving on to Section 2, no money creative strategies, substituting time for capital.
Now, this is absolutely perfect if your bank account is currently sitting pretty close to zero. Because remember, if you don't have the cash, you substitute it with your time. Our sources highlight 5 highly effective ways beginners can leverage free platforms. You could hammer out a 30 to 50-page ebook and throw it up on Amazon for exactly $0. Got an eye for photography? License your shots on sites like Shutterstock, and you can sell that exact same photo thousands of times. You could code a mobile app to solve a common problem, or, build a blog or a YouTube channel around some super quirky niche. Hey, your obsession with competitive swing dancing might just be a goldmine. Or you could slap your digital designs on t-shirts through platforms like Zazzle or Etsy. The whole beauty here is that your only real initial investment is your own creativity.
And once you actually build that audience, how do you make money off it? It's a little thing called affiliate marketing, and the logic is super straightforward. Step 1, you build an audience in your niche on a blog, YouTube, TikTok, wherever. Step 2, you drop a link to a third-party product on Amazon or eBay. Step 3, when a viewer clicks and buys, you earn a 3 to 7% commission. The income becomes passive because your link is up and working 24/7. But yeah, it absolutely requires that heavy upfront grind of creating content to draw the traffic in the first place.
All right, Section 3, monetizing things you own, turning idle possessions into cash.
Okay, but what if you have zero interest in starting a blog or writing a book? Well, you might actually have some hidden cash flow sitting right in your driveway or your spare bedroom right now. Our sources point out 4 specific categories of everyday household items you can easily rent out. And honestly, it is wild how much idle utility is just waiting to be turned into revenue without you needing to go buy a single new thing.
Of course, every opportunity has a trade-off, right? Let's look at the breakdown. First, your car. You can actually get paid per mile just to wrap your car in ads, but you definitely have to watch out for shady scam agencies. Second, you could rent out a spare room on Airbnb for daily cash, though obviously you take on the risk of property damage. Third, parking spaces. If you live near a busy commuter hub or a concert venue, rent out your driveway. Just double-check you aren't breaking any local rules. And finally, you know that power drill that's been gathering dust in your garage since 2019?
You can rent out your household tools. Just be mindful of the liability side of things if someone, accidentally gets hurt using them.
On to Section 4, beginner-friendly investing, making your money work for you.
So let's say you've traded your time, maybe rented out some of your stuff, and you've finally built up a small pool of capital. Now it's time to make that money actually do the heavy lifting. The financial world can feel totally overwhelming for beginners, so let's keep it simple with 3 very accessible vehicles. A high-yield savings account gives you way better interest than a traditional bank with literally 0 effort, but the downside is it might not quite outpace inflation. Then you have certificates of deposit, or CDs. These offer really safe, guaranteed returns, but the catch is your money is totally locked up for a set period of time. And finally, REITs. These offer fantastic real estate dividends, but they do carry the risk of fluctuating stock prices if the economy takes a dip.
Actually, let's unpack that last one a bit more, because REITs are an absolute game changer for beginners. It stands for Real Estate Investment Trust. Essentially, it's a company that owns and manages real estate, and by law, they are required to pay out most of their income as tax-advantaged dividends to their shareholders. So, for the price of like a decent dinner out, you can buy a share on the stock market and start earning real estate income. No saving up a massive down payment, no fixing leaky roofs at 2 a.m., and no dealing with actual tenants. It is brilliant.
And finally, Section 5, building your income streams, putting it all together. We've covered the sweat equity, renting your stuff out, and dipping your toes into investing. Now let's talk about the big picture, your long-term strategy. Financial planner Jerry Lynch basically gives us the ultimate cheat code here. He says, I'm a fan of non-correlated assets, something zigs, something zags. You're not tied to one thing working. The massive takeaway here is diversification. Think about it like a giant safety net. If the stock market takes a hit, yeah, your dividend income might shrink. But if you also have an ebook generating monthly royalties, or you're renting out a spare room, you aren't left totally exposed. You want a portfolio of different income streams that all behave a little differently. That's how you ensure a steady flow of cash, no matter what kind of crazy things the economy is doing.
So that brings us to the ultimate question for you today. Which passive income stream are you going to start building right now? Remember, building wealth is not about having $1 million to start with. It's simply about taking that very first step. Pick one low-cost strategy we talked about, put in that upfront sweat equity, and kick off your journey toward actual, lasting financial success. Thanks so much for hanging out with me on The Explainer today.